extremely late just because life happened. So I'm gonna jump right into it because I only have a few minutes. I'm supposed to be on the clock at 9 o'clock, and it's 8:55. So, so the collab is just it was titled "I See Dead People," and a couple of people have probably explained what they see, um, what they thought interpreted it to mean, and it was just really open for interpretation. But to me, it was, how I see people now that I am on a debt-free journey. So in particular, if you watched my how I got into debt video, which is like one of my very first YouTube videos in this focus concentration or whatever, it tells you about how I got into debt, and a large chunk of my debt is student loan debt. So obviously, I see professional students as debt people. I see people, and I consider myself a professional student because it took me about 8 years to graduate with my undergrad, just because I was playing around and I was having kids and not focusing, and then I was working and I was making money that I thought was comparable to what I would make if I had a degree, but I didn't, I wasn't aware of all the other things that come with some degree having jobs or advanced degree having jobs, like a 9 to 5. I was working in some plants and I was working shifts. One of them was like 3 to 11. Sometimes I would work 7 in the morning and 7 at night. So, and I was making at that time okay money. And so finishing my degree was not a priority to me. So total, it took me 7 or 8 years. I graduated from high school 2001, and I got my degree in 2009, I believe. May 2008. But I actually had finished in December of 2007, but we just couldn't. I could not graduate until May of 2008. So I consider that to be a professional student, or a student, another professional student, or someone else that fits my category of a professional student is someone who just continues to go back to school. Specifically, you're earning a degree, but you're living off of these excessive student loans that you're taking out. And so you might have 2 and 3 different master's degrees or bachelor degrees, and you are a professional student. So I see that as a debt person. Another person I see, or debt people, another group of people I consider to be debt people are store clerks, particularly those store clerks that try to get me to sign up for their store credit cards. I want to say so bad, and I know that it's their job to ask and they get a reward, and I really wish they got the reward, just not at the expense of debt to me. And sometimes I really just want to say, bitch, I'm trying to get out of debt. But excuse my language, but sometimes that is what I want to say, and I know that I don't say that, and I know they don't know that I'm currently on a journey, so I politely decline and say no thank you. Some stores I already have a card that I've already paid off, so I see those more, and I guess, to me it's different. I'm more aware that it was me saying yes in those situations to get 20% off or points at the end or whatever that got me on that contributed to the debt on this journey. And so whereas 2 or 3 years ago I'd just be like no or yeah, or whatever, now it just kind of, I see it differently. I perceive the situation differently. The last one, and I struggle with this, and it's not the last one. I have 2 more actually. I struggle with this one because, again, I don't know these people's situation, but I can't help but look at it from the perspective of what I'm going through. So People who are working past retirement age that are like 67, 68, 69, 70, and they are still working, I can't help but think that that is debt that is keeping them working. And I know it could be an abundance of other reasons. They got to help a grandchild get into college, which is still debt, or pay for college, or they don't want to sit at home because they're bored, or their retirement is not enough money, which I still kind of relate to debt, because part of a debt-free journey, well, the goal of my debt-free journey is to retire early or to be comfortable in retirement, but definitely it's not to work past retirement age. So again, don't blow up my comments because you have a grandparent or you are a person that is working past retirement. I know there are an abundance of reasons aside from debt that a person may still be working past retirement. I just cannot help but think that that is the reason because of what I am going through. So, I see people that are working past retirement as debt people. And I know that's not the case. I used to work with a lady at a job, one of my first jobs, right after I got my degree. She was 67. She was slumped over. She was old. And she worked because she had to feed her horses. She had 4 horses, and she worked to feed her horses. And she still was paying on her mortgage. I mean, but the priority was feeding her horses. The last person I see as a debt person is my husband. In my video, how I got into debt, I talked about how we have not combined our expenses, our incomes, and I'm fine with that. And I also talked about how my husband does not have any credit cards. So if you're wondering, well, why do you see him as a debt person, here's why. Because my husband makes decent amount of money, and the bills he pay sometimes are not even half of his weekly income. And he puts a small amount of that into a savings and he blows the rest. Now, I do benefit from him blowing the rest sometimes. Like, I benefit from those breakfasts and tickets to go here and Saturday activities, laser tag, and going to the state fair and stuff like that. But I can't help but to start adding up. It's literally in my mind. Every time he swipes that card or he pays something, I just hear cha-ching, $50. Cha-ching, 100. Cha-ching, 225. Like, I'm just starting to add it up, and I can't help. By the end of the day, I have become so disgusted with him because I start to think that could have been $225 on my credit card, or that could have been $500. He doesn't spend $500 in a day, but I'm just saying, if that could have been an amount in your savings account, or that could have been something on a Christmas on a Christmas gift or in the Christmas account or whatever. And so now he does not come through on these things, but I just see it differently. And sometimes I even say, no, I don't want to go out to eat, but what you were going to spend on me eating, can you just give it to me so I can put it on my credit card? And a lot of times he just cancels everything and says, oh, we'll go eat from home. So, but yeah, I see him as a debt person too. So, that is how I see debt people. And if you see debt people, or you see people differently now that you're on a debt-free journey, share that experience in my comments. I love reading your comments. That's why I haven't gotten any negative comments. I might change my mind though once I do. So, but now, I love reading your comments. So share your experience. Share how you see things different now that you're on a debt-free journey. And it doesn't just have to be a debt-free journey. If you're on any journey, share how you see things differently now that you're on your journey. Even if it's like weight loss or parenting or whatever, share that experience. Thank you. Bye-bye. Title, and it's true, I have emptied out my emergency fund. So if you watch my other videos, you know that my emergency